I welcome you to another global broadcast. We call this the Semaj Mind Spa. Mind, the ultimate frontier, consciousness. Spa is a situation where we provide nutrients, we remove toxins, and we energize. Now, my reflection today is on the context of this very issue called music. Last night I saw the lineup for SumFest this year. So I'm titling this A Musical Reflection of Who We Have Become. Question mark. Question mark. So please join me for this. Let's see if our views concur or differ. It doesn't matter, but let's have a conversation. Now, what do I say about this? Folks, we share ideas from time to time. But look, I have no desires to defend or impose the ideas that I share. I respect your views. You are entitled to yours, as I am to mine. But guess what? Time will be the judge. Time will be the judge. So let's reason this one out. My first question: has dancehall become the new emperor's new clothes? What do I mean by this? I'm sure you're familiar with the concept of the emperor's new clothes, whereby the emperor was naked. You know the whole story that led up to that. The emperor walking on the street naked. But nobody wanted to point it out. Now, anyone who raises questions about where our music is heading or has gone or the impact, it is said, no, you're not. You're dissing the people. You're not one of the people. You're disrespecting people. Well, I don't share that view, but let's see how we can still reason this out and you have a how we can make sense of it. But something has to be said. Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Marcus Garvey, says that God and nature first made us what we are. And then out of our own created genius, we make ourselves what we want to be. I accept that and I try to live that every day. We have the option to make us into being that which we wish to become. All right? Now, the pillars of culture for me are very straightforward. There are four things. If you look at all the things that you know, believe, and wish and share, you got it from your educational institution. You got it from religion. You got it from entertainment, the performing arts. You got it from media. Now, you see, when you combine media and entertainment and the performing arts, you see the powerful impact that has on the culture of who we are and what we become. Hmm? In the African worldview, we hear about the griots, those who tell the stories of where we're coming from and where we're heading. You know, they're usually poets and historians and advisors, huh? But it comes in music, it comes in poetry. The musicians, the teachers are the ones who share the story. And to a large extent, modern reggae music took on that, telling the story of our people. And we still see how so many other cultures have adopted. It is no accident why the music, the legacy of Bob Marley traveled around the world and inspired so many people, as a grier's work would be. Music is powerful, folks. Music can affect your brain in the same way that chocolate or sex does, believe it or not. When you sing along with a song, it doesn't matter how well you sing. Your brain makes natural painkillers that give your mood a boost. So that music is essential for our being. So we sing along with the song, we sing along with the hit song, we sing along with our favorite song. Yes, we feel so much better. The day is lighter. Huh? But it is even more profound than that now. Music has changed the modern world in ways Very, very profound. Music is now a multi-billion-dollar industry, big, powerful industry. It's the most prosperous industry in the world. The superstars have incomes that are larger than many countries. So many people are naturally attracted to music because of what it can do, what you can get from it. Music helps shape the hearts and minds of the young people of the world. One of the most underestimated influence on young people today is the music industry. Just think of what the Jamaican music industry, what the lyrical content is impacting on our young people. Think about it. Music is the most profound value shaper in existence today. Music impacts our very view of the world on a daily basis. How young people dress, how they express themselves, is in line to a large extent with the music that they consume. Young people wake up to it, drive to it, play to it, study to it, go to sleep with it. It imbues their total being. It's a powerful thing called music. It is suggested that between grades 7 and 12, the average teenager will listen to and watch 11,000 hours of music and music videos. Now, why is this important? It's more than twice the time they will spend in class. We have just come through 2 years with limited impact of class, but even much more impact of music and music videos. What do we have to show for it? Ask that question. Now, the history of the impact of music has been tracked. Why is it so powerful? Why does it affect us? But the bigger question, where is it leading us? Is it harmless? If we go all the way back to ancient China, you see a very interesting story. Over 2,000 years before the birth of Christ, the musical system of China was both highly developed and very central to the society. And when you review the history books, you see that the ancient emperor carefully checked the music in each province to make sure that it conveyed eternal truths and could thus influence the character for better. They didn't leave it up to chance, not to chance at all. I see a note here from Marlon. Doc, many of the musicians themselves deny this simple fact that they have the impact, especially in Jamaica. Interesting paradox, my brother. The artists who call themselves cultural artists, they will admit we are teaching the people something. Should not those who are dealing with pornography and violence still say the same thing? You are teaching the people something. So yes, whether you admit it or not, all artists are teachers. All artists are griots. If we go back to China, we see Emperor Shun. He monitored the health of each of the province in his vast kingdom just by listening to the music being produced in each kingdom. Whether it was coarse, whether it was sensual. Coarse or sensual music, he concurred, indicated a sick society, one in need of his intervention and assistance. And then he would put the things in place to visit that province. 2,000 years later, Plato echoed the same sentiments as Emperor Shun. Plato said, when modes of music change, the fundamental laws of the state change with them. When modes of music change, the fundamental laws change with them. It's incredible that I do believe that the music of an era provides the soundtrack for life in that era, for what is happening during that time. The soundtrack. Plato said, though foolishness they deceived themselves into thinking that there was no right or wrong in music, that it was just to be judged good or bad by the pleasure it gives. As it was, the criteria was not music, but a reputation for promiscuous cleverness and a spirit of law breaking. Hmm? I wonder if they're talking about dancehall music today. We could use the same expression. I know I am treading on some dangerous ground when I raise these, but somebody has to. Somebody has to. I be the one. I will. Aristotle said that, look, music has the power to form character. And he wanted to see it actually regulated by the state because that's how the music weaves right in the ear, straight into the brain. And interesting enough, folks, music lodges itself in some areas of the brain that we don't even understand. Someone who is even become almost senile, huh? Someone who can't remember is losing their memory. You play some song from their childhood and their face light up, they start smiling. The memories come straight back to them, straight back to them. It was Carlton Alexander who said that the most important thing that Jamaica will have to share with the world is its culture. Its culture. And we're seeing this happening over the last 20, 30, 40 years. The Jamaican music impacting the rest of the world. So he was right. And we're still doing this, whether we like it or not. Now, this is my favorite picture of Bob Marley. Why I took this picture? At a concert in Central Park in 1975. Marley impacted my life. I use Marley music to tell time. Every year in graduate school, the album that came out for that year, I had it on my turntable and I listened to it before I went to class in the morning. And when I came back, I listened to it. I use Marley music to shape time and space. And there are many people across the world do the same thing. Now, I wonder, what would Bob Marley have to say about the quality of our music today? The lyrical content of our music today. Would he be proud of it? Would he be proud of it? Let's look at the lineup. This year's lineup. All right. Idonia, Shensia Spice, Alkaline Governor, Chronic Law, Intense. Now, you notice the flavor. You notice the flavor. If you go to the next night, very interesting. There is Berries, Coffee, and Sizzler. I single them out because this is a separate category. But then it gets back to Dexter Daps, Jada Kingdom. Very interesting tribute to Madhouse. Dave Kelly with Be the Man, Bounty Killer, Sham. So we're going back to an era with a type of music that came out of this. But then now some of the up and coming acts. But there's a general, with the exception of the Berries, Coffee, and Sizzler. If you do a content analysis of these artists, what are the images? What are the emotions? What are the sounds? What are the thoughts? What are the feelings? What are the behaviors being conveyed by this body of music? It's fairly one-sided. With the exception of Berries, Coffee, and Sizzler, we're seeing a totally different, very limited aspect of what our music has become. Question. I believe that human aspirations are infinite. Infinite. Maybe that's why I love rock music, because of the infinite range of issues discussed. Yet, Jamaican music themes today are largely limited to two things: sex and violence. If we do this, folks, what will our people become? If this is this all we are? Is this what we are? I raise the question on this question called pornography. Have we crossed the line? When I look at many of the music videos of some of the acts that we'll be seeing this year, look, the depiction of erotic behavior intended purely to cause sexual excitement. Yes, That's called pornography. Erotica is a legitimate art form, is a legitimate component of art. Pornography is a little different. Have we crossed the line? What do you think? Many of the same acts that we have now, and we give them big billing. When their music is presented in other cultures, it must be labeled. What's the label? Parental advisory. Huh? Parental advisory. Parents should decide if they wish their children to access this music. Yet we hear this on Jamaican radio to a large extent. Hmm? If we look at the scale of emotional guidance, we can move upwards or we can move downwards. As you move up the scale, the kind of issues that we contend with, the uplifting issues, very different than you move down the scale, the fear, the violence, the envy, the dark side of human emotions and capabilities. To a large extent, our music has chosen a downward spiral. Or should I say that the element of the music that's given prominence? Hmm? But folks, I believe that culture is like a river. We have to constantly be aware of those who are drinking below us and those who are bathing. Because if we don't do that, what do we do to them? Hmm? I see a comment here from Marlon. I always say Bob Marley is the father I didn't have growing up. I can truly understand that, my brother. I can truly understand that in terms of the impact, in terms of the messages, in terms of the things that we learned as a result of that music. Culture is like a river, those who are bathing downstream. I also say that children live what they learn. Children master what they live. Children also remember what we do. What will our children be taking out of this era? Because the music that we are now presenting, we do not distinguish it, we do not differentiate it. The music is available to all, to everybody. It's available to our children also. What are they becoming as a result of this? There's an interesting quote from Eldridge Cleaver, and he says that there is no more neutrality in the world. You either have to be part of the solution or you're going to be part of the problem. Which side are you on now? When we take a look at where our music has taken us, the kind of society being created by our music. We have a choice. Either we live for a higher purpose, or just live for the highest bidder. Living for the highest bidder can get you in some very sticky places. I don't recommend this. And the music is taking us into some places that, yes, the highest bidder is being paid, but what about the purpose? What about the kind of human being that is being created by this music? As far back as 1976, I had a deep conversation with Ibu Cooper. Is a brethren and myself. Yes, we grew up very close to each other in Mona Heights when he was going to JC and I was going to KC. And in his first band, even before he formed Third World. And one of the conversation we had at this club that was in Spanish Court in New Kingston, 1976, I remember distinctly. The discussion was, you got to give the people what they need, not just what they want. What are we doing now? What are we doing then? Are we giving them what they want? Yes, we are. So I say, this is my reflection on who we have become. When I look at the lineup of Reggae SumFest, who we have become. My reflections on the lineup. Is this who we have become? What direction do we go from here? We have a problem, folks. I'd love to hear your views on this. I'd love to get your feedback. I'd love to see, am I the only one who have a question and a concern with what we have become? Am I the only one that is concerned about what the music is now doing to the culture, how it presents itself, the impact on our children? Am I the only one? As we reflect, and if we just go back through and take a look quickly at what this lineup is and why I'm so concerned about it, is this who we are? Is this what we have become? Remember one time we used to have a singers' night, international night, and we tried all kind of things to broaden the aspect. But they said, boys, don't go dance or make any money, you know. So then now, what we now have is call it 2 dance all night, huh? And we just throw in a little flavor here to those who would like to raise the bar. But serious reflection of who we have become and what we now are. Sex and violence. Diet of sex and violence. Pornography. We have crossed the border. We have crossed the line. Erotica, legitimate art form. Pornography, that's a little different. We have moved the emotional scale towards the lower end as opposed to the higher end. We have lost sight of the fact that culture is like a river. What about those who are drinking below us and those who, where you bathe and dump your garbage, there are people who are drinking below. What about the children? Are you part of the solution or are you part of the problem? Will you choose to live for the higher purpose or just for the highest bidder? Are you content with just giving the people what they want as opposed to what they need? We have a problem. These are my reflections on who we have become. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day. And I do hope that, as we reflect on these things, I'd love to hear your views. How else can we see this? What else can we do? We have work to do, serious work to do.